Okay, thanks everybody for tuning into this. I hope it's going to be informative. Okay, so we get started. Okay, so this webinar is Irish citizenship through descent. So it's like an overview of the foreign birth registration process. Okay. Okay, just a disclaimer, this is, it's not specific legal advice, it's just general advice. Okay. And there's no attorney-client relationship between any of the viewers here and McAtee Law Group. Okay. Okay, a little bit about me. My name is Ray McEntee. I am a partner at McEntee Law, and I have a focus on sports and music immigration here into the US. And I also co-head up the Irish citizenship through descent as well. I've been living in the US since late 2014, and I'm originally from Dublin, Ireland. I'm a licensed attorney here in the States, and I'm also a qualified solicitor, which is like a lawyer in Ireland, England, and Wales. And I'm currently based in Chicago. I live here with my wife and my two kids. And I'm a dual national with the US and Ireland, and so are my two kids. Okay, so are you a US citizen? Or sorry, are you an Irish citizen? Okay, so you look at that. Yes, if your parent was born on the island of Ireland pre 2005, then you're automatically an Irish citizen. You can apply for a passport. If you or your parent were born on the island of Ireland after January 1st, 2025, your right to Irish citizenship depends on your parents' citizenship at the time of your birth and the residency history of one of your parents before your birth. So it changed after 2005. Okay. Who qualifies for Irish citizenship through descent? So you're not automatically a citizen. You need to kind of take steps before becoming a citizen. And so you can potentially become an Irish citizen if you have an Irish-born grandparent. If your parent was an Irish citizen at the time of your birth, but not born on the island of Ireland. So if one or two applies to you, then you're eligible to become an Irish citizen, and you can become a citizen through the foreign birth registration process. Okay, benefits of being an Irish citizen. You're officially recognized as an Irish national and also an EU citizen. You have certain rights, including the right to have an Irish passport, the right to live and work in Ireland, and also to live and work and kind of travel freely within the EU. Other benefits of being an Irish citizen include being able to request consular assistance from Irish embassies and consulates abroad. And then if you're an Irish citizen, your spouses your spouse is able to apply for residency permission to come and live in Ireland for an extended period, and then could potentially become eligible to naturalize as an Irish citizen. So while there's no direct claim to Irish citizenship for a spouse of an Irish citizen, there is that kind of, they can get residency permission and potentially become eligible to naturalize and get citizenship that way. Okay, so foreign birth registration process. How is it and what is it and how does it work? Okay. Let's go through it here. Okay, so who can apply? As we kind of went through this just briefly there again, we'll go back through it again. Who can apply for foreign birth registration? So if one of your grandparents or both your grandparents were born on the island of Ireland, or one of your parents was an Irish citizen at the time of your birth, even though they were not born in Ireland, then you can apply for the foreign birth registration. It's really important for the second part that your parent, it was, at the time of your birth, they were an Irish citizen. If your parent subsequently becomes an Irish citizen after your birth, then the foreign birth registration process likely won't apply. They look at it at the time of your birth. Okay, so once you apply to be entered on the foreign birth registration, once you are entered on the foreign birth register, you are an Irish citizen, and then you can apply for your Irish passport, your travel document. So you have to, complete the foreign birth registration to become a citizen. Okay. How does the process work? How does foreign birth registration work? It's a two-step process. The first part is that you need to complete and submit your online foreign birth registration form. through the Department of Foreign Affairs website. So you go on, you complete the form online, you will download a copy of it, the completed form, then you submit it and you pay the fee online. And yeah, and then you download that form that you've submitted, and then you need to get that signed and witnessed, and then you send that, the second part of it. So the first part is completing and submitting the form online and paying the fee. The second part is then downloading that form that you submitted, getting it signed, signing it in front of your witness and getting it witnessed, and then sending that form, the physical form, along with your supporting documents that we'll chat about in a little while, to Dublin. You send the physical file to Dublin. So the current processing times for farm birth registrations, it's about 11 months. It was about a year before COVID. Then with COVID, it went up to like 2 years or more, and it's back down to like pre-COVID times. So it's about 11 months. Yeah, for that process. Okay, so what supporting documents you need? Okay, so we'll go through what the documents need, what you need from the Irish-born grandparent, from your Irish citizen parent, and then from yourself. And then again, unless stated otherwise, originals must be submitted. So anytime I talk about birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificates, and actually proof of address, and proof of name, they all need to be originals. You don't need originals of your US passport and driver's license, and so forth. But anytime birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, and like proofs of address, they need to be originals. Okay, so what do you need from the Irish-born grandparent? You need the original civil birth certificate of the Irish-born grandparent, the long form birth certificate. So that's going to list both parents on it if applicable. And you can order that from hse.ie. If the birth was registered, you should be able to order it from there. I'll get into it a little bit more if your Irish-born grandparent's birth wasn't registered and you've like tried to obtain it and you've gotten a letter of no record from government, you can use that in a baptismal certificate. That should be accepted. Okay, but generally speaking, you need original long form birth certificate of your Irish-born grandparent listing both parents. If your grandparent was married, you need to have the original marriage certificate of your Irish-born grandparent. If your grandparent changed their name in another way, say they came to the US and they naturalized and they changed their name when they naturalized, you'll need the original naturalization certificate. So if there's any other change in name, you need that original document. And then for the grandparent, if they're still alive, you'll need a photocopy of their current state issued ID. So passport, driver's license, or so forth. And that needs to be certified as a true copy. And that would basically be the witness who witnesses your form. It should be that person. They should try and do all of it together. If your grandparent isn't alive, you need the original civil death certificate for them. So for grandparent, birth certificate, marriage certificate, and then death certificate or current ID if they're still alive. Okay. What do you need from your Irish citizen parent? So you need original long form birth certificate, showing both parents, if applicable. If your parent was married, you need to have an original marriage certificate. Or again, if they change their name in some other way, like by deed poll or something else, then you need that original document too. And then for your parent, again, we want a certified copy of their current ID. So driver's license or passport. Or if your parent is no longer living, we need to have an original death certificate. There, okay. And then you, the applicant, the person who's going to be applying for farm birth registration, what do you need from you? We need the completed, signed, and witnessed farm birth registration application form. So we talked about that. This is the one you submit online, you pay the fee, and you download. So you need to have that form. You need to then sign that in front of a witness and have your witness complete the form. We'll talk about witnesses in a little bit. What else? So your original long form birth certificate. In the US, you can maybe order from Vital Check or one of the state health departments. You can order. It depends. It's kind of state specific. What I will say is there's like certain states have privacy laws and can be difficult to order certificates if you're not like the applicant or like a parent. So I know New York is quite difficult. They've got quite restrictive privacy laws for that. Okay, so for yourself, so we need the completed, signed, and witnessed application form, your original long form birth certificate listing about your parents. If you're married, a marriage certificate, or if you've changed your name, an original, government issued document showing the name change. Again, we want a copy of your current state issued ID. We generally use passport and driver's license, and you have your witness who signs your FBR form, who witnesses your FBR form, have them certify your passport and driver's license as a true copy. Basically, what they do is, they will come in, they'll look at the original passport, driver's license, they make a copy of it, and then there's like kind of verbiage that we have saying that, I've seen the original, this is a true copy of the original, and then they have their name, the date, their signature, their name printed underneath, the date, and then their profession and contact information. Okay, and then 2 separate original proofs of address. This is something that we've seen that they've kind of been pushing back on. They want original document. They want original proofs of address. If you have them, great. So like maybe a property tax bill or some other original correspondence. A lot of the times, your bank statements or your utility bills. I know for me anyway, all of my stuff is paperless, so it's hard to get an original one. I just print it off. But we've seen them push back on that, looking for originals. And then also what you need is 4 photographs. You're going to need 4 passport style photographs, and 2 of them need to be signed and dated by the witness who witnesses your form, your FBR form. Okay, so that's kind of all of the documents that you need. To recap, the grandparent, long form birth cert, marriage cert, death cert, or current ID. Your parent, long form birth certificate, marriage certificate, current ID, or death certificate. And then you, completed and signed FBR form, long form birth certificate, marriage certificate, copies of your ID, passport, driver's license, 2 original proofs of address, and then 4 color photographs. Again, all of the certificates need to be original, so they need to be the copies that you get from the government when you request them. So whether it's through HSE or Vital Check, you need to submit the original document they send you, not a copy of it. Okay, so that's all your documents. What documents then for a minor applicant, what do they need? Again, they need a witness form, long form birth certificate. If they've changed your name, change your name document, you want to have a true copy of their government issued ID. So if it's passport, if they have a driver's license, and then a letter from like school, family doctor, or other kind of source that kind of includes the minor's address. Generally, we would use like school reports or stuff like that, or doctor's letter for that. And then 4 color photographs of the minor applicant, 2 of which have to be signed up and dated by the witness. And then the parent of the minor, what do they need? They need original, so it's the same again as they need the original long form birth certificate, original marriage certificate if married, or another change of name document, original foreign birth registration certificate if applicable, photocopy, and then again a true copy of their state ID. The adult applicant needs to provide 2 separate proofs of address, original proofs of address for the parent, and then 4 photographs, 4 color photographs. 2 of them have to be signed and dated by the witness and parent. Okay, who can act as a witness? This kind of comes up. We've seen that there's been some issues where it comes up who can be a witness, but on the website they provide a list of who can act as a witness. And we've actually had a little bit of pushback on some of our applications in relation to witnesses. And there's some common issues that we see with witnesses as well. Okay, so anyway, the website provides a list of who can act as a witness. Examples would be police officer, or in Ireland, Garda Síochána, which is the police, a school principal, a vice principal, or a teacher, a member of clergy, so a priest or a pastor, a doctor, medical doctor, a lawyer, notary public, commissioner of oaths, peace commissioner, bank manager, assistant bank manager, so forth, an accountant. So any of these professions can act as a witness. So basically what the witness does is what the witness should do is you'll come in with all your documents and your form, your FBR form. They will witness you signing the form. So you'll sign the form in front of them. You show your identification. You'll sign the form in front of them, and then they will complete the witness section of the form, which is basically their name, their occupation, their business address. I think there might be a contact number, and then they will have their stamp, their witness stamp. If they're like a notary public, they'll have a stamp and then a notary, their number. If they don't have a stamp, they can provide a business card with their name in it, or like a letter on headed paper confirming that. Okay, so the witness needs to witness your form and your passport photos. So they'll look at two of the photos, look at you, and they'll sign and date two of them on the back. They should also look at you should then kind of ask them to make a true copy of your passport and your driver's license to show them that, and they can review them, make copies of them, and then they can certify it as a true copy, basically saying, hey, I've seen the original. This is a passport, whatever, US passport. I've seen the original. I can certify this is a true copy of the original. Sign it and date it, give their name and their occupation, and attach that certification page to the copy of the driver's license and the passport. Okay. The FBR team is going to call your witness. And this is the same for the passport office. They're going to call your witness. They're going to want to talk to the witness to confirm that you did come in and sign the application in front of them. And sorry, I'm seeing some questions. I'll answer all of those questions at the end. I'm not ignoring any of them, but I'll save some time at the end and I can go through all of the questions and answers. I just don't want anyone to think I'm not going to answer them, but I'll do all of that at the end if that's okay. Yeah, so look, they're going to call the witness. If your witness doesn't answer, they can't get through to them. What we've seen is the application gets rejected and then you need to resubmit it. They will call a few times. So just, tell your witness to expect a call. It's hard to give an exact timeline, but it's generally you don't hear from them until it would be probably closer to the 11-month mark after submission. But if the FBR or the passport office can't contact your witness, the application is going to be rejected, and then you're going to have to they'll refund the money typically, and then you got to do it again and sign and witness and everything again. So make sure the witness is available to answer the call. Okay, so you've done all of that. So you've done your online form, you submitted it, you paid your fee, you've downloaded your form, and you've gone and you've gone to your witness, you've gotten the form signed, you witnessed, signed it in front of a witness, gotten the witness to fill out all of that stuff. You've got all your original documents and your certified copies. Then you send the application to Ireland, to the Farm Bird Registration Department. That takes about 11 months. You generally will get an email within a couple of weeks saying you received your application, and then you don't hear anything. And then, as I said, as they're getting ready to review it and adjudicate it, they'll reach out, and typically they'll confirm if your address is still accurate, and then they'll contact your witness. And then soon, if they need anything, if there's any issues, which I'll talk about in a little bit, like if there's discrepancies in names on certificates or dates and stuff, so forth, they'll ask for additional documents, or they'll approve it. And if it's approved, if they need additional information or documents, they'll reach out to you and say, you need to provide this, and then you need to provide that, and then they'll adjudicate the case. If all is good, they'll approve it, and then they reach out and they let you know that the case has been approved. They'll send you back your original farm birth registration certificate. So once you're entered on that, you're an Irish citizen. And then all of your original certificates you submit, they send them back separately afterwards. So you should get all your original documents back. So once you have your farm birth registration certificate, you can move on to actually getting your Irish passport. So your passport is just your travel document. Well, as I said, once you complete the FBR process, you're an Irish citizen. So passport process, how does that work? So it's actually online now for a lot of people, including first-time applicants in the US. They expanded the online application process. And again, it's a two-step process, a little bit similar to the FBR in a sense that step one is you complete and you submit your online identity verification form through the Department of Foreign Affairs website. You pay the passport fee, you submit it then, and then you download it and get it all signed and send it. Okay, so the online part, what you need to do is you put in your information. You need your farm birth registration certificate information. You enter all that thing. You need to upload a digital photo. This can be tricky. This is a problem. The websites it can be difficult enough to get photos accepted. So I generally, what we say is take photos with your smartphone against a white wall. Try it numerous times and you'll get it eventually. But you have to upload a digital photo in order to get to the stage of submitting your application. So that's just something to keep in mind, that it is difficult to the passport photo uploading part can be difficult. Okay, so once you do all of that, you've uploaded your photo, you've completed your information, you paid your fee, you submit the application, and then you download your identity verification form. And it's kind of similar to the FBR. Then you need to kind of go get that. You need to sign that in front of a witness, get it witnessed, and then send that to Ireland with your supporting documents that we're going to run through now. The processing time for passport applications is, I'd say it's about 3 months. They say it's 30 days online, but we're not seeing that. I would say it's probably closer to 3 months. And again, as I mentioned, Irish citizens, adults and children, they can apply for first-time passports. You can apply for renewals, passport renewal online if you're a resident in Ireland, Northern Ireland, Great Britain, Europe, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, or the United States. As I said, in I think it was 2022, they expanded this to include all of these. Before, I think you just could be in Ireland and Northern Ireland. So and try and make it a little bit easier. Or you had to kind of, I believe, go through the consulates. So it's a little bit easier in here now. Okay, so what supporting documents are needed for a passport application? Again, for the applicant, unless stated otherwise, you need to submit originals. So your cover page, your application cover page, when you submit your application, you download it, you get your cover page, and then you get your identity verification form. So you need to have your cover page, your identity verification form. You need to sign this in front of a witness. Again, same sort of witnesses, same witnesses for the FBR. You need to sign it in front of them, and then they need to kind of complete it, fill out their information, and either stamp it or provide a business card or a letterhead. Okay, you need your birth certificate, your original long form birth certificate. You need a photocopy, true copy. Now, again, have your witness certify this is a true copy of your driver's license and passport. And you need proof of name, which is, original utility bill, bank statement, and proof of addresses. Again, utility, bank statement. And then your proof of citizenship, proof of your Irish citizenship, which we'll kind of go through below. So if your Irish citizenship is based off your parent being born in Ireland, your proof of citizenship is your Irish born parents' original long form birth certificate, showing both their parents' information, and if your parent was married, an original marriage certificate. So that's what you do if you're applying for a passport based on your parent being born in Ireland. If you're applying for citizenship through the foreign birth registration process, your evidence of your Irish citizenship would be your original FBR certificate that you get. You need to send that off. You can actually include a certified copy of the FBR certificate, so the original or a certified copy they'll accept, and then also a certified copy of your passport. So that's the documents you need for passport application. Again, it takes about 3 months. You can track it. You can use your application number to go onto the DFA website, and you can kind of see where your track what the status is on your passport application. Okay, frequently asked. We kind of see some we get frequently asked questions. One of them being, where can I order original Irish certificates? So you can order Irish birth certificates from hsc.ie, the Civil Registration Service. And this is, you can order birth certificates for births that have been registered in the Republic of Ireland from 1864 to present. That's when all records were centralised. So from any birth that's been registered in the Republic of Ireland from 1864 to present, any births registered in Northern Ireland between 1864 and 1921, any deaths registered in the Republic of Ireland from 1864 to present, any deaths registered in Northern Ireland from 1864 to 1921, and then marriages registered on the island of Ireland from 1864 to 1921, and in the Republic of Ireland from 1922 on. So that's where you can get Irish births, deaths, um, and marriage certificates and Northern Irish certificates as well. HSE.ie. If they've been registered between those dates, you can find it there. If they haven't, generally what will happen is they'll do a search and they'll issue a letter of no record, basically saying we've searched and there's no record of this being registered, this birth being registered or marriage being registered or so forth. Okay, so hse.ie is where you can order certificates. You can do it online. Okay, next one as well. Okay, so I know where I'm ordering the certificate. What do I need? What do I need to order my grandparents' Irish birth certificate? You're going to need the full birth name on their certificate, the date of their birth, place of their birth, gender, father's full name, if recorded, and mother's full birth name, their maiden name. So if you have all that information and the birth is registered, you should be able to get it. You'll be able to get a copy of that. That will be acceptable for foreign birth registration and passport purposes. Okay. And then another question we get is where do I order certificates in the US? This is really state specific. Vital Check is they do a lot. They have a lot of that you can order a lot of certificates there. You can order them from, state health departments. I believe New Jersey you order through there. I think Florida maybe as well. What I will say is every state is different. They've got, it can be more difficult to order certificates in different states. I know that New York, it's very difficult for third parties to order certificates. You need to get it can be really tricky. So it'll really just depend. But I would typically what you would look at in the US is Vital Check or the state where the person was, married or born or died, their health department. You should be able to get it there. Okay, when should I start the process? Okay, so one of the things we see as well with with FBRs is, if you have an Irish-born grandparent and then they came over to the US, a lot of the time it's not uncommon for there to be discrepancies in names or dates of birth. A name might be spelled a little bit different, or they may have just kind of changed their name slightly on the Irish birth certificate and then on the US, marriage certificate or death certificate. This happens, quite a bit. I've seen very minor discrepancies up until like some pretty major stuff, like, place of birth being America on the US documents and Ireland on the Irish ones, which is a major problem if, your claimed Irish citizenship is that person was born in Ireland. So I've seen it all. So because it's so common, we always say don't start the process until don't start the FBR online process or passport process until you've gotten all your documents. So that's all of the birth certificates, marriage certificate, death certificates of the grandparent, birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, passports of the parent, and then your documents as well. And the reason why we say this is you want to review everything. You want to know what you're looking at. You don't want to submit an application and then you get your documents and you're like, oh, actually there's discrepancies here and these dates are wrong. So you basically want to see what you're dealing with. If it's a more minor discrepancy, you're probably going to be okay. You're probably going to be able to explain that. You provide an account, provided like a written, a signed statement as to like what it was, if it's human error or, whatever the reasoning is, you provide that. If you have like secondary evidence to support that, then great, submit that as well. Submit as much as you can, but you want to basically have all of that in your application and like submit that. You want to make it as easy for the person adjudicating the case possible to be able to see the link between the grandparent to the parent to you. So we advise waiting till you get all your documents, do a review. We do like a spreadsheet where we'll have the grandparent, parent, the applicant will have the different documents, the grandparents have the birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, and we compare names, first names, surnames, date of birth, place of birth, and parents' names, and we compare them all against each other document, and then we'll look at the parent and look at the grandparent's name on the parent's document. Is that the same? Is there any discrepancies there? So we just kind of check everything, and that's what we advise doing to kind of try and avoid any surprises in the adjudication process. Okay, how do we help? How can Macney Law help with farm birth registrations applications. So yeah, we can and we do regularly help individuals with farm birth registration and passport applications. We'll advise on what documents you need to kind of run through it here, but we'll provide details. We'll provide like, links to websites where to order stuff. We can order documents if somebody wants us to, but it's not included in our flat fee for the farm birth registration and passport. And the reason being is that, you just don't know how long it's going to take, how much time it is. Is there like, what are the extra steps depending on the state? So if somebody does want us to order certificates, we can't guarantee we'll get them, but we can try. And we would just bill at it like a discounted hourly rate outside of our fee to do that. So yeah, so that's in relation to the documents. We advise on what type you need. We can obtain them if you want us to, but generally we don't. So then what we would do is we would prepare the forms. We would give you questionnaires to complete, set you up with an online box account. We tell you everything we need. We would then do the spreadsheet, go through over all of the documents, tell you like, hey, we've noticed these discrepancies, kind of work with you to figure out the reason for these discrepancies, and we could draft a statement kind of to that effect. Then we would prepare the online form, the FBR form, send you a draft of it. But look, to review, looks good. We would submit it, pay the fee. We would download that. If you're local in Chicago, you can come in and I can witness everything and make true copies of your documents. If not, we'll send you the forms and details, instructions on who the witness is and what the witness needs to do. And then you can go and get that form. You can sign it and get a witness and then send all your original documents and the signed forms to us. And then we'll send that application off to Ireland for you. We'll provide you a complete digital case scan of your application. And then the same with the passport, similar thing again. We'll, tell you what we need documents wise. We'll prepare the form. We'll send you a draft of it. It looks good. Then we'll, submit it online, pay the fee. If you're in Chicago, come in, I can witness it and you can sign in front of me. If not, we'll send you that with instructions on how to witness it and stuff and so forth. Again, so that's kind of that. Again, we don't order certificates. Part of our flat fee that we charge doesn't include us actually obtaining certificates for clients. We'll tell you, we'll give you kind of advice on where you can order them in Ireland. And, in the US, we can kind of point you in the right direction. If you want us to order certificates, we bill at a discounted hourly rate just because it can take a lot more time, be a lot more complicated depending on circumstances. Okay, there was another slide that I had done up, but it's not in here. Basically, common issues that I want to talk about, common problems. What have we seen? First one is, hey, I haven't been able to order my grandparents' Irish grandparents' birth certificate. I can't get it. What do I do? So if you've reached out to the HSE, the Central Registry, and they've conducted a search and there's no record, they will issue a letter saying that they have done this. It's a letter of no record saying that there's no record of this individual. You can, submit that letter with a baptismal certificate. If you have your grandparents' baptismal certificate, you can submit the two of them in lieu of the birth certificate. Now, the embassy or the officer, they've like a discretion as to whether they'll accept that or not, but generally they will. But that's what you do if you can't get a birth certificate for your Irish-born grandparent. Another issue that we see is witnesses. This is something we've been seeing recently, is that they'll try and contact, if it's either the FBR or the passport office, they'll contact the witness, and if they can't get them, then they will they can reject the application. And then if it's a passport one, you need to kind of go in and submit the form again and get it witnessed and signed and send it off. It's a pain. And then with the FBR too. So you just really the witness really needs to be, to answer the phone, to expect a call and answer it. Generally, you'll kind of, not always, but you'll kind of get an email asking for you to confirm your address. And then, in and around that time, they might contact a witness. I would generally, as a best practice, would be like, email them and say, hey, have you contacted my witness now? I just want to make sure that they're available to expect your call. Okay, so that's another problem, is the witnesses not being contacted. That can cause issues. Another one is proofs of address. We were seeing as I mentioned earlier, that like they were pushing back. They want original proofs of address. I mean, in this day and age, a lot of people have electronic communications, if it's bank statements or utility bills. So I don't know whether that was just kind of a trend or one adjudicator that was kind of doing that, but that's something we see as well. But if you have like a property tax bill, include the original or any other kind of any correspondence that are originals. I would submit the originals as opposed to a copy of them. Another issue that we see is the passport photo, uploading your passport photo to the passport application. They say that you can get a digital copy or a digital photo. I don't recommend doing that just for the purposes that you can go into CVS, and I've done it a few times before, where you go in and get a photo taken and you come back and it doesn't work. The form won't accept it. My advice is use a smartphone. Have somebody take a photo of you with a smartphone, be against a white background, no shadows and behind you kind of, and just have that photo. You can take multiple ones and eventually you'll get one that works. Sometimes you submit your photo and it seems good, and then the passport office will, come back later and say, hey, you know what, the passport photo isn't acceptable. You need to upload another photo. That can be a problem as well sometimes. So they're kind of the main issue. That's kind of the main things we see is not being able to get certificates for Irish grandparents, the witness being uncontactable, passport photos, and then proofs of address. And then also, discrepancies. As I mentioned, there can be discrepancies between Irish documents and the US documents. If it's smaller the discrepancy, the easier it is. Like the adjudicators will just they have discretion and it's case by case basis. If it's small and it can be easily explained, it's more likely that your explanation in your cover letter or whatever will be that. Where you have major issues is when where you're claiming that your Irish born grandparent is, as I just said it, born in Ireland, and then on subsequent documents it says they're born in America or born in another country. That's going to be harder to explain, and that could be, that'll be, in my view, is going to be a major problem for you. Okay, so that's kind of all it is. I'm going to get to the Q&A now. Okay. Okay, so collecting paperwork, ordering certificates from Vital Check. What do you choose for wanting it? I generally go for legal purposes. I don't know if is there an immigration option to do that, but I think legal purposes would be okay. It should suffice. And then again, that certificate you get sent, it's like the Vital Check is the certified copy of that. Submit the actual one you get. Don't make a copy of it and submit it. The actual thing they send you out, submit that. Okay. Original copy. My grandma was born in Dublin in 19. I don't have the original, but I bought a copy of it when I was in Ireland a couple years ago. Should be, if it's the HSE one, in Ireland, the original long form birth certificates are on a white piece of paper. It's like a rectangular and it's kind of really wide. You can also order them if you order them from HSE, or you could have gotten it from births, deaths and marriages.ie. If you've ordered it through that channel, through the central registry, that's fine. If it's the original version they sent to you and it's a long form listing both parents, that should be okay. Okay. If you've been married and divorced and change your name back to maiden name, do you need to provide a marriage license and divorce decree? Good question. I would, if you have it, I would. If it's not a huge ordeal to get it, I would provide the originals to them. If you don't, you could try and submit it without and see if they, if they want it, they're going to ask you for it. And generally with your passport applications they give you a limit. Basically, if there's an issue with the passport, they'll send you an email and say, hey, here's a link, you need to do this, this, and this. You've got 14 days or 20 days from the date of this email to rectify this. So, you run the risk of submitting all of this stuff and then them saying that and then not having enough time to get that. Not having enough time to get those documents. But if all your birth cert and your IDs and your address and everything, is in your maiden name now and your passport still and that, maybe you don't need it. You should be okay, maybe. But again, it depends. The safest thing would be to have it and submit it. Okay, so that's that. Another question here. Okay. Um, um, it again, I would try and if you've been married a couple of times and divorced a couple of times, I would, you know, try and provide all of the like the marriage certificates and any of the divorce decrees. You know, you just want to kind of make sure that they know it's you and your name is you. Depends what your passport is now as well, but it's better to have more. Try and get them and submit them. Um, my advice is to have all of that submitted in case they ask for it, because again, if you submit it and then they ask for it, you're probably not going to have enough time. You're going to have to do all of that process again to go and get the form submitted and signed and witnessed and stuff. Can you be a dual citizen? Yeah, you can be. I'm a dual Irish US citizen. Um, it really depends on the country. Certain countries you can't be a dual citizen, but you can be a dual Irish US citizen. Okay. Can you file as a family with your siblings? Yes, we regularly do that. So if there's, siblings are all applying for foreign birth registration, or they're applying for passports based on an Irish born parent, or the foreign birth registration based on an Irish born grandparent. We do all the applications. Now, you all need to do your individual application, whether it's a passport application or it's a foreign birth registration application. But the benefit of applying together is that you use the one set of documents, original documents for the grandparents. So birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, it's foreign birth registration. And you can also use your parents' certificates for the FBR, or if you're doing a passport, you can use everybody can rely on the one kind of copy of the one original certificates for your parent, and then all of their own original documents. So yeah, you can apply with your siblings. Like, you do individual applications, but we would put them all together and do a cover letter and say, hey, please use the one original birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, or whatever for all of us. And that they do accept that. Okay. Another question is, what if birth certificate discrepancies in birth certificates and death certificates? We regularly see this. It depends. Like, if it's, how big of a discrepancy is it? Like, is it way off? Is it just one discrepancy? Is the marriage certificate? Is there other documents that kind of match the original? It depends. I would provide a statement saying, this is why this was a discrepancy. We think it was a clerical error. Here's some other documents that show her birth cert, her date of birth. Whether, like, it depends. Is the date of birth wrong on the birth cert or the death cert? Trying to establish that first, and then look at the other documents like passports, driver's license, and you have other ones to support. They have the same date. You can kind of show that and just provide a statement saying, look, we think this was a clerical error, and they'll use discretion when adjudicating. So, okay. New York. I think you can order from Vital Check or New York. It might be the New York Health Department. You just type in, if you type in New York marriage certificate, it'll tell you. It might be Vital Check. I think you can order from Vital Check. New York has strict privacy laws. I would have your mom apply. It'll be easier for your mom to apply for her own marriage certificate. So, check Vital Check. You should be able to get it there. Marriage certificate, if you can. They want to see the marriage certificate. But try Vital Check, and if not, just type in, and it might be the New York uh, Health Department where you can get that. Okay, so um I think I've answered all of the questions. They're all really good questions. Thank you for taking the time to thanks for taking the time to post them. I hope you found this webinar helpful. St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner. It's a good a time as any to explore your Irish roots. I will say it's a fantastic benefit having dual citizenship. You are able to live and work here in the US, and then you can in Ireland as well. You can live and work in Ireland. You can all around the EU as well. You can live, work, travel, around the EU without any need for visas. And depending on where you are, what stage you are in your life, this is potentially something that can be passed down through generations to your kids, grandkids, and so forth, depending on when you apply, and obviously subject to the laws remaining the way they are. But yeah, as I said, here's my info. You can see it, info@mcentee.law.com. If you want to, feel free to email us if you want to get like fees and stuff like that for the foreign birth registration and for passport applications. You can get us at info@mcentee.law.com. You can also call our office, 773-828-9544. Yeah, again, thank you so much. I hope everybody found this helpful. I hope you got some information for those that are in the process themselves. I hope you got something that is helpful in your application. Again, if you want more information, please reach out to us, info@mcentee.com, or by calling us. Again, and we're doing a very limited offer here for limited free consultations for people who've attended this webinar. So if you do want to get a complimentary consultation, please reach out to us. Say that you've attended the webinar and that you're just following up about the free consultation offer. As I said, it's limited, first come, first serve basis. So, if this is something you do want to do, please reach out to us. Don't delay. Okay, well, happy early St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Thanks again for taking the time to listen to me. Have a great day.